Caxton Hall near Westminster in London. He used to go into trance in public. And one of the communicators that spoke through him regularly was the Master Jesus. And you can imagine the reaction from people in those days in the 50s. And his life was threatened. That if he attempted to do that, he would be killed. But he went on, and of course he wasn't. And he brought through some fantastic teachings, wonderful spiritual messages that have since been published and now are being used and practiced as spiritual practices by thousands of people all over the world.
Now the society has grown from those days, from the 1950s. It's the Aetherius Society is in New Zealand, Australia, America, so it's growing all the time. People are coming forward.
Yes, in the UK especially, where it started, and where I grew up, obviously with the society there, it's virtually a household name. And as far as the media is concerned, well, the media has changed rapidly now. For example, when I first came into the Aetherius Society, if somebody had a sighting, for example, which they thought was a UFO, and they approached the media or they reported it to some kind of official source, they were made to feel very, very stupid and small in stature. And as a result of that, of course, people stopped reporting them. Well, since that time, things have changed rapidly. And now, with the advent of the internet and YouTube and things like that, and the invention of the digital camera and the digital video camera, now when people have sightings, they just capture it. Let's capture the image, put it on YouTube. It's there.
It's all there for us to see, isn't it?
And it instantly goes around the world. So, contrary to popular belief, the actual sightings of what we call UFOs, and I'm not saying that every single UFO is a spacecraft from another world, but quite a lot of them are. But now, when a sighting takes place, of course, it is reported. And over the last few years, sightings have increased enormously. I mean, I go onto the internet and I gather information about this simply as a matter of interest when I'm talking to people like yourself or doing articles which I write. Canada, for example, had a record number of sightings last year. The sightings in the UK last year were phenomenal. So these things are happening all the time.
Who do you think they are? Who do you think they are?
Well, I can only go by the studies that I've made, which is over a lifetime, because I'm in my 49th year now in the Aetherius Society.
Yeah.
I believe that these intelligences come mainly from within this solar system. You know, this solar system is rather like a huge cosmic university, and each of the planets are the classrooms. And if we study philosophy and ancient wisdom from the mystery schools, we know that we are here on this earth for a specific reason. We're not here to suffer, we're not here to make money, we're here to gain essential experience, because this is the classroom that is right for us at this moment in time in our stage of evolution. But the intelligences who live on other planets are not like us. They've gone through this stage many, many, many millions of years ago. They are going through a different set of experiences. So therefore, they behave and they act in a very different way to what mankind does. And I think this is one of the mistakes that some of the people who are trying to fathom out what it's all about, this is one of the mistakes that they make. They assume that they are like us. What I ask people to do is to imagine a spacecraft coming through the solar system, a product of an advanced science. Imagine it being piloted by Buddha. Or an advanced intelligence, or Jesus.
Yeah.
So in other words, their whole concept and their whole experience is one of a spiritual plane, and their understanding of the cosmos and their understanding of this mysterious thing we call God is greater than ours. So their appreciation and their wanting to preserve all forms of life is what is motivating them to help mankind at this critical time. Now, the most asked question, I should say, is, well, if that is true, then why the dickens don't they just land and sort out the mess for us? Well, it's pretty obvious, if you think logically, that if they were able to do this, they would have done it a long time ago. The fact is that they can't do this. They're not allowed by law to directly interfere or intervene in that way.
So there is a ruling, an interplanetary ruling, not to interfere.
Yes. Through the transmissions or the messages that we have in our archives, it's clear that there is a governing body, a spiritual body, that looks after all life, the progress of all life in the solar system. And at this moment in time, they are limited as to what kind of help or intervention they can give to this Earth. Sometimes a sighting here, a landing there, a contact there. And Dr. George King, I must say this, never, ever, ever claimed to be the only person to be contacted by an extraterrestrial.
So it's like a parent that takes a young child to a kindergarten. It knows that the child has to go through the experience of going to kindergarten. It can't stand there in the kindergarten all the time, so it leaves the child there. And we could be going through a period like that where our cosmic masters say, we cannot help you, you're in kindergarten.
That's right. But at the same time, their compassion allows certain intervention, providing that the intervention is voluntary, and it doesn't transcend the natural law or the karmic law, which is action and reaction being opposite and equal. For example, we believe that the great masters who came to this earth to give their philosophies and their teachings and help at certain times of our history were interplanetary. Masters like Sri Krishna, the Lord Buddha, certainly the Master Jesus. In fact, he even said so. And with all the translations and reissues of the Bible, it's still there in black and white in Revelation. I am from the root and offspring of the house of David and the bright and morning star. Well, when my grandson was 6 years old, even he knew that the bright morning star was Venus. So we believe that the being, or the part of the being,